From Tupac Shakur denying prison rumors on camera.
Duped in the butt. You know why it was difficult for me? Not that somebody said I got in jail. It was difficult because people was believing it.
To Kid Creole, stabbing a homeless man to death over a perceived gay advance. In this video, we're diving into the wildest jail footage of rappers caught in their most shocking and controversial moments behind bars. Tupac Shakur. Let's kick this off with arguably the most controversial jail story in the culture. In 1995, Tupac Shakur did 8 months in the pen for sexual abuse conviction, but what supposedly went down during that bid sparked rumors that stayed haunting him for the rest of his short time on Earth. Word started spreading almost immediately. Did Pac get violated in prison? Now, here's where things get real grimy. Radio personality. Wendy Williams allegedly started running her mouth saying Tupac got sexually assaulted while locked up, and these allegations spread through the hood like wildfire. The story became so widespread that it overshadowed everything else about his time in the box. People weren't talking about his conviction or the circumstances that got him booked. They were focused on this wild, unverified claim that Pac had been victimized behind them bars. But Pac himself addressed these rumors straight up in a powerful interview that you absolutely need to peep. His response wasn't just denying it, it was a passionate defense of his manhood, his dignity, and everything he represented as an artist and a real one.
Duped in the butt. You know why it was difficult for me? Not that somebody said I got in jail. It was difficult because people was believing it. I was like, how the hell y'all gonna believe I got in jail? Pulled 2 guns on me and told me to get on the floor, and I wouldn't get on the floor with 2 guns. What makes you think I'm gonna go to jail with no guns is gonna make me turn over and give up my whole manhood?
Think about that for a second, homie. This man survived getting shot 5 times at Quad Recording Studios in New York when cats ran up on him, and people actually believed he would get violated in the pen. The logic didn't add up, and Pac knew it. He was pointing out how absurd the whole situation was. If he wouldn't submit when armed goons put burners in his face, why would anyone believe he'd submit to assault while locked down? Tupac was heated that the media created this whole narrative, and in another leaked interview from February 1996, shortly after he touched down from his bid, he went completely off about how the media was obsessed with his personal business instead of focusing on real issues affecting the community.
See, the media, they make me act like I would act. I'm in jail, they reporting that I'm getting in jail. I'm sitting in jail, this is banging on my door going, bah! When? Why you ain't say that? What's going on? Talking about I got raped in jail. Ain't this a bitch? You did an interview with somebody USA Today, right? Yeah. Just about that, right? No, I didn't even talk to them.
The raw emotion in his voice tells you everything you need to know about how deeply these rumors cut him. This wasn't just gossip to Tupac. It was an attack on his character, his street credibility, and his standing in the hip-hop game where respect and strength are everything. The wildest part about this whole situation? The rumors kept circulating even after Tupac explicitly shut them down multiple times, and they continue to pop up on social media to this day, nearly 3 decades after his death. During his time on Rikers Island in January 1995, Tupac actually wrote powerful letters and gave interviews that showed his mental strength and intellectual depth. He wasn't a broken man. He was using his time to reflect, create, and strategize his next moves. His Vibe magazine interview from April 1995, titled Ready to Live, became one of the most important pieces of journalism in hip-hop history, as he discussed his mindset behind bars, his frustrations with the justice system, and his determination to continue his activism and music career. When he was later transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, he caused quite a stir among both inmates and corrections officers, with his celebrity status making him both a target and an icon simultaneously. The impact of these bogus allegations on his legacy cannot be overstated. They represent how the media and the public can create narratives that overshadow an artist's actual work and message. Tupac's prison experience should have been a story about a young black man navigating a flawed criminal justice system, but instead it became tabloid fodder that reduced one of hip-hop's most complex figures to a victim of unsubstantiated gossip. Even his cellmate later gave interviews about their time together, painting a picture of Tupac as thoughtful and strategic, not traumatized. If Tupac's story was about false rumors, Mystical's story is about very real and very disturbing allegations that led to multiple incarcerations spanning 2 decades. Mystical. The Grammy-nominated rapper came up in 1995, riding the wave of Southern hip-hop's rise with his aggressive flow and unique delivery, but his career trajectory would be repeatedly derailed by sexual assault charges that tell a deeply troubling story. Mystical did 6 years from 2004 to 2010 for sexual battery and extortion, involving his hairstylist in a case that had the music industry shook and his fan base confused. The details of that case were disturbing enough, but here's where it gets even crazier. In 2022, he got knocked again on first-degree charges, and as of the research date, he had been sitting in county for nearly 3 years waiting for trial on these new allegations. The pattern is what makes this story so wild and so concerning. My G, how does someone go from being a celebrated artist with Grammy nominations to facing life in the pen for charges? How does someone do 6 years for sexual assault, get released, and then find themselves accused of the same type of crime again? His court dates have been repeatedly pushed back, creating a legal limbo where he sits in jail without resolution, which raises questions about the justice system itself. In an exclusive AP interview after his most recent charges eventually got dropped, Mystical opened up about his experiences with the system, and his words revealed the complexity of navigating accusations in America.
I didn't get a Donald Trump pardon. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't because of no money or nothing like that, no kind of influence. It was just strictly on a simple fact that I was innocent, man. Man, that felt good. I deserved it.
But then he revealed something that shows just how broken the system can be and how people get caught up in plea deals even when they maintain their innocence.
The first situation I pled guilty, that was some kind of strategy I was using for not to get that life sentence off my back. You know what I'm saying? Our legal system is broken, especially, and I'm not trying to play the race card and all that, but it is what it is. You know, like I was just trying to get it over with, man.
This admission is crucial to understanding his story, fam. He's saying that in his first case, he copped a plea not because he committed the crime, but because he was scared of getting life in the pen if he fought it and lost. This is a reality that many people in the criminal justice system face. The pressure to take a plea deal, even when innocent, because the alternative of going to trial and losing is too terrifying to risk. And then Mystical dropped this gem about learning from his mistakes and changing his behavior.
Stay out the water, because sharks in that water, man. Stay out the water. In other words, don't put yourself in situations where things like this can happen. You know, for that, man, I don't do the groupies on the road. I don't perform at the show and get the lady all eyes open and, you know what I'm saying, get all Google-eyed and then take advantage of it. I don't do that. That was young Mystical.
The pattern of allegations has led to widespread discussion on social media and in hip-hop circles about his behavior and whether he should face life imprisonment if convicted. Radio personalities have publicly stated that after one charge, your name should never be near another sexual assault accusation for the rest of your life. DNA evidence was reportedly recovered in the most recent case, which made the charges more serious and the potential consequences more severe. Under Louisiana law, a first-degree conviction carries a mandatory life sentence without parole, making this story one of the most controversial and consequential in hip-hop history. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the questions surrounding his guilt or innocence continue to divide opinion in the hip-hop community. Kid Creole. From one of hip-hop's founding groups to a prison cell, this is the tragic story of Kid Creole. Making his debut in 1982 as a member of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Kid Creole was part of the group that literally helped create hip-hop as we know it. But in 2022, he was sentenced to 16 years in prison for stabbing a homeless man to death. Here's where the story takes a disturbing turn. Prosecutors argued that Kid Creole stabbed the victim because he believed the man was making a homosexual advance toward him. In an interview with Vlad TV, his brother Mel discussed the incident.
Well, I want to talk about some of the other members of the group. So, Kid Creole, who's your brother.
Yeah.
You know, he was obviously a core member of the group, but years later, some problems started arising. So in 82 and 95, in 82, he got arrested for firearm possession. In 95, he got arrested for possession of a knife, which, you know, those two things aren't really a big deal. But then in 2017, he got arrested and charged for the murder of a homeless man in New York City.
And the details get even more specific.
I mean, according to reports, I guess he was working as a handyman and a security guard in Midtown, and he walked by a homeless man who, I guess, propositioned him in a homosexual manner or something like that. And they say that your brother actually pulled out a knife. He had a knife with, you know, on his forearm with rubber bands. He ended up stabbing him in the chest and killing him.
The trial revealed that Kid Creole was working as a handyman in Manhattan when the incident occurred. The wildest part, a founding father of hip-hop, someone who performed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, ended his career not in glory, but in a violent act born from alleged homophobia. The case highlighted issues of violence against homeless individuals and homophobia that persist in society. DMX. DMX needs no introduction. Since his debut in 1991, he became one of the most raw, authentic voices in hip-hop, but his struggles with addiction and the law led to over 30 incarcerations throughout his life. One incident in particular stands out as absolutely wild. In 2009, DMX assaulted a prison guard while serving time at the Arizona State Prison Complex. But get this, the altercation was reportedly over food quality. That's right, one of hip-hop's most feared artists attacked a guard because the prison meals were that bad. But DMX's relationship with Arizona's prison system, particularly under Sheriff Joe Arpaio's infamous regime, was notoriously bad. In an interview after his release, DMX didn't hold back about his experiences behind bars in the Grand Canyon State.
I know you're on one Arizona TV network, and you're like, man, they're making us look pink.
Yeah, man, stripes and pink. Pink underwear, pink socks, and slippers.
Underwear too?
Underwear pink.
Oh
Sheets are pink, all that shit, man. It's just ridiculous.
So what can you tell the people, like the kids out there, like what to do, what not to do?
Stay the fuck out of Arizona.
The pink underwear policy was part of Sheriff Joe Arpaio's controversial approach to running the Maricopa County jail system, designed to humiliate inmates. But X wasn't done expressing his feelings about the Arizona criminal justice system.
That, the sheriff, he got his hard, fuck on Michael Vick, and then they came and took my dogs. And I wasn't even fighting my dogs.
I know, right?
I love my dogs, man.
The incident with the prison guard jeopardized his probation status and added more time to his sentence. What makes DMX's story particularly wild is the sheer number of times he cycled through the criminal justice system. His struggles with crack cocaine addiction were well documented, and each arrest seemed to be another chapter in his battle with demons that eventually cost him his life in 2021. His gang-influenced crimes, including robbery, were a constant throughout his career, creating a paradox of an artist who made millions but couldn't escape the streets. The wildest element isn't just one incident, it's the entire pattern of chaos that defined his relationship with incarceration, turning his life into a real-life movie that sadly ended too soon. Slick Rick. Slick Rick, who debuted in 1985, is considered one of hip-hop's greatest storytellers. But in 1991, he found himself living a story he never wanted to tell. He was convicted of attempted murder after shooting his cousin in a gang-related dispute. Slick Rick served 5 years behind bars from 1991 to 1996, and what he did during that time is actually remarkable. He wrote his album, The Ruler's Back, while incarcerated, literally turning his prison experience into art. In a rare prison interview with Russell Simmons, Doug E. Fresh, and others, Slick Rick reflected on what it takes to truly earn respect and how prison was teaching him about growth and responsibility.
Yo, you got to step to yours like this and like that and blah, 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 and then you get mad respect. But you get mad respect from a bunch of little kids, you know what I'm saying? You get respect from adults who got houses and homes and, you know what I'm saying, who got response, who's going somewhere in life, who has got grandkids.
He continued with wisdom that shows just how much prison had changed his perspective on what really matters in life.
The only thing I could do is do my thing. I don't want to be no role model, because once I mess up, they're like, you're supposed to be a role model. All I could do is try to be as positive as possible, because like I said, this ain't no permanent spot, We all got to break out sooner or later, so it's best that we break out and, at least good overweight or bad, so we'd be like, yo, let us in.
In an interview with The Guardian years later, Slick Rick reflected on his prison experience, stating, "You learn from prison time. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." The wildest part of his story? He faced deportation threats to the UK, despite being a legal resident of the US since childhood. His case became a symbol of how the criminal justice system treats immigrants, even those who came to America as children and built their entire lives here. The combination of gang violence, attempted murder, prison artistry, and immigration battles makes Slick Rick's jail story one of the most complex and multi-layered in hip-hop history. Shine. Shine burst onto the scene in 1998, quickly being hailed as the next great voice in East Coast hip-hop, but his association with would lead to a nightclub shooting in 1999 that sent him to prison for 9 years. From 2001 to 2010, Shyne served time for assault and reckless endangerment at Clinton Correctional Facility in upstate New York. But the wildest part of this story is what happened during and after his incarceration. In an interview conducted from inside Clinton Correctional Facility, we got a glimpse into how prison was changing Shyne, both as an artist and as a person. The interviewer set the scene.
He was on his way to becoming one of hip-hop's major superstars, signed to one of its biggest labels. But with a successful career still ahead of him, Jamal Shyne Barrow now calls this place home, the Clinton Correctional Facility in upstate New York. Shyne's promise was derailed after an infamous New York City club shooting in 1999. Infamous because of Shyne's company that night. He was rolling with label boss and one-time mentor Pete. On March 16, 2001, a jury convicted Shyne of the shooting, sending him away for a 10-year sentence and forever changing his life.
But Shyne's transformation behind bars was remarkable. He became deeply religious, reflecting on his Jewish faith and how it sustained him through the darkest moments.
Like I always pray, and I never ask that I don't suffer. I just ask that I'm allowed to endure my sufferings. So whether sufferance is, being accused of something I didn't do, whether sufferance is, having to prove, my credibility in my music, whether sufferance is, having to watch my mother struggle and suffer, I just thank God for always allowing me to endure it.
And then Shyne revealed something that shows just how prolific he remained even behind bars.
And when songs after songs, and not just songs, I'm talking about I got albums, man. Sequence, song 1 through 12, just like Godfather Buried Alive. When all that started happening organically,
Right.
I understood, you dig, that I have been given all the power I need, and this is what I'm here for, because dudes live their whole life for this. Dudes they make one album, can't even get started on the other one.
Right.
I got 10 in my head.
The way Shyne carried himself in prison was also striking.
I don't function like that. Like I'm 0183886 to them, you dig? So when I walk around, I don't walk around like, I'm Sean Pope. I walk around like, I got to handle what I got to handle, and that's that.
Shyne converted to Judaism in prison and later became a politician in Belize, but he also made explosive claims about the shooting. In YouTube interviews, Shyne alleged that he set him up to take the fall for the nightclub shooting. The incident was tied to gang affiliations and the violent club culture of late 90s New York, involving his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and resulting in 3 people being injured. What makes this story wild isn't just the shooting itself, it's the complete transformation of Shyne's life afterward. From hip-hop artist to Orthodox Jew to politician, his journey represents one of the most dramatic reinventions in music history, and his claims about his involvement continue to spark debate about loyalty, betrayal, and who really pulled the trigger that night. C-Murder. C-Murder, younger brother of Master P, debuted in 1998 with No Limit Records, but in 2009, he was sentenced to life in prison for murdering a 16-year-old fan in a nightclub fight. Here's where it gets wild. Key witnesses later recanted their testimony, claiming they were pressured by police. C-Murder has maintained his innocence from day one, and his case has attracted the attention of celebrities like Kim Kardashian, who believe he was wrongfully convicted. In 2021, C-Murder went on a hunger strike to protest his prison conditions and fight for a new trial. His fellow No Limit artist Mac, who also served time in Louisiana's prison system, spoke about C-Murder's situation.
Bittersweet, and it was always hard for me to see C in that position. Knowing him from the streets and knowing the type of person he was and how big his heart was. And, C was one of them dudes who was always there for everybody he loved. And he's one of the most, his strength and his weakness to me. And because everything is, one and the same, the duality of life. His strength and his weakness is loyalty.
The wildest part? Louisiana's life sentence means no possibility of parole. It's truly life without any chance of freedom. His case has sparked discussions about wrongful convictions and police misconduct in Louisiana, highlighting systemic issues in the justice system that disproportionately affect Black entertainers. The combination of recanted witnesses, celebrity advocacy, and prison protests makes this one of the most controversial cases in hip-hop. Cool C Cool C debuted in 1987 as one of Philadelphia's hip-hop pioneers, but his story took a horrific turn when in 1996 he was sentenced to death row for murdering a police officer during a bank robbery. The wildest part about Cool C's story is how drastically his life changed. From performing at some of Philly's hottest venues to sitting on death row awaiting execution, his fall represents the street-to-prison pipeline that claimed so many artists from that era. The bank robbery was gang-involved and resulted in the death of Officer Laretha Baird during the holdup. Cool C has received multiple stays of execution over the years, keeping him in legal limbo on Pennsylvania's death row. Neef Buck, another Philly rapper, discussed what might have driven Cool C to such desperate measures.
These guys in the 80s were hot rappers. Like, what do you think led them to, their lives to get to the point of actually robbing a bank and, killing a police officer and everything?
Things change, man. It's hard to keep up with time, man. I'm blessed to be able to keep up with time. I came up, Tough Love came out 2004, and it's 2015, and I'm still making music that people can relate to, and I'm still getting my message across and my point across, and they still loving it. So I'm just blessed. And times change or whatever, so you never know what people going through. Their situation, their trials and tribulations, and their responsibilities sometimes drive them to do negative things, you know what I mean, to feed their families or do whatever they got to do.
The case symbolizes how quickly fame can fade and how desperation can lead to irreversible decisions. Cool C's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of the street life catching up with you, no matter how successful you become. Mac, another No Limit artist who debuted in 1998, served 21 years behind bars from 2000 to 2021 for manslaughter in a concert shooting. But here's the twist. His conviction was later deemed wrongful, and he was released via clemency after investigations revealed problems with his case. Mac's story represents the thousands of people who are wrongfully imprisoned in America, particularly in Louisiana's controversial justice system. In post-release interviews, he discussed the gang pressures he faced and how the No Limit family supported him throughout his incarceration. What makes Mac's story wild isn't just the wrongful conviction itself. It's how he maintained his sanity and spirit during 21 years of imprisonment for a crime that shouldn't have resulted in his conviction. His discussions about life inside Louisiana's prison system and his reunion with C Murder paint a picture of a broken system that destroys lives. When discussing his time with C Murder in prison, Mac revealed the emotional toll.
Once again, he's doing good. Every time I talk to him, he's always in good spirits. And C is a fighter. He's not gonna ever give up. I promise you that. He ain't gonna never give up. But I think also because he knows how I feel about him, I think a lot of times, even if he's not doing all right, he always joke with me every time I talk to him. He's playful. And I think he does that because he knows that he know that it hurts me to see him in that situation.
His release represents hope for others fighting wrongful convictions, showing that justice can eventually prevail even after decades. But it also raises the question, how many others are still behind bars for crimes they didn't commit? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.